Joining me now is Congressman Jim Himes, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, welcome. Thank you very much for being with us. So, some House Republicans want deeper spending cuts along with big changes in the president's powers to let refugees remain in this country, the parole function. Are we headed for a shutdown?
Well, it feels that way. You know, we started the week with some really good news, which is that Speaker Johnson had agreed to, with Chuck Schumer, the numbers that was part of the deal that then Speaker McCarthy agreed to with the president, and it seemed like we were smooth sailing. However, as you know, 2 days ago, the Republicans, in anger at the Speaker's agreement to stand by McCarthy's agreement, took down a rule and basically brought the floor to a screeching halt. You know, Andrew, the underlying problem here is there are 40 or 50 Republicans who regard working with Democrats as something akin to treason. And that's a terrible place to be to begin with, but it's an impossible place to be if there is just no way you're going to get 218 Republican votes for anything. And we know that to be true. So, you know, look, I hope Speaker Johnson does the right thing and abides by the agreement that he made with Chuck Schumer. He'll get Democratic support, and there will not be a shutdown. But whether or not the Republicans decide that that would be a crime grave enough to, you know, cost him his job, that is a, you know, Chip Roy Freedom Caucus question.
And they've got basically a 2-vote majority now because of resignations. So in such an evenly divided House, you're not going to get anything done unless there is a bipartisan compromise. Let's turn to the Houthis and the attack. This was telegraphed day after day. They issued a statement on January 3rd, on Wednesday week before last, that any further attack would have consequences, and after saying that, the Houthis did attack and there were consequences. Do you think it was enough, and do you think it will escalate throughout the region?
Well, I think we should be clear, Andrea, that it was the Houthis that were escalating this. When you're willy-nilly launching missiles and drones against international shipping in international waters, you know, you're engaging in a violation of international law. So the Houthis were escalating. My hope is that the strikes that were taken last night serve to get the Houthis to back down from this attack on international shipping. Now, obviously, a lot of the answer to that question lies in Tehran. I do believe, as ranking member of the Intelligence Committee in the briefings that I have received, that, you know, Tehran is in this war acting through its proxies, Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, etc. I do think that right now, remember, the Iranians are looking at an election such as it may be. I do think that they, like us, have an interest in not seeing this war escalate into a massive regional war. So hopefully cooler heads will prevail and the Houthis will stop attacking international shipping, and will, as horrible as it is, the war will be limited to the geography in which it is actually occurring.
And have you heard anything to give you hope that there might be some negotiations on the hostages, despite the assassinations that took place, one against a Hamas leader, another against a Hezbollah leader? We were told, I just came back from this trip with Secretary Blinken, and we were told that Qatar still believes that there can be some negotiations.
Well, there can be, you know, in the brutal Machiavellian calculus, which almost always applies in the Middle East, these hostages are bargaining chips for the terrorists of Hamas. And so 2 things need to happen. Number one, those negotiations need to continue. And number 2, what really needs to happen here, we were just talking about Iran. Remember that the people that pull the strings for Hamas, the people that provide the resources for Hamas, are in Tehran. And hopefully Iran recognizes that there is an immense amount of danger to the region with Hamas continuing to hold the hostages. Hopefully the Qataris, and the Qataris have always played an intermediary role in the region, can say to Hamas, you know, you guys need to bring this deal to a close, return the hostages, and proceed from there. But, you know, again, in the Middle East, as you know as well as I do, Andrea, oftentimes your best hopes are pretty quickly dashed.